A very good Tuesday morning to you, and welcome to the Fixed Wing Guide channel with me, Stuart Lomas. I hope I find you very well. Weather here in Manchester, actually quite a nice autumn day. Little bits of blue sky, very, very calm. A little wisp of wind here and there. Not been out just yet, so I don't know whether it's particularly cold, but I will wander out later on. What I want to talk about today, it's a reply to CG of the Amateur Watch Collector channel, where she was talking about when is the right time to hand down your watch collection. Excuse me. I think it's a tricky one, this. I'm going to try very hard not to get a little bit too morose in this video, because it's going to kind of venture into territory that could be. I think for me what it's all about is three things: mindfulness, acceptance, and preparedness. So let's take the first one first, mindfulness. I think if the last 12 years have taught me anything, it is that life can change in a heartbeat, and so much can go wrong very, very quickly. So you've got to be mindful of that fact, that life is this kind of constantly changing landscape in which we move through. And those movements can affect you and your family and your life and your health and everything else. So that's the very first thing. You've got to be aware of you've got to be mindful of what's actually going on in your life, that potentially things could change in a heartbeat, literally in a heartbeat, and you may well not be here by the end of the week. And I know that sounds quite sad and morose, but you know, everybody says live each day, carpe diem, seize the day, and that's actually quite right. The second thing is acceptance, and what I mean by that is it's kind of acceptance that the people that you want to hand your watch collection down to may well have no interest whatsoever in watches. Now, CG in particular, let's take you as an example. You have three lovely young boys who are in the tech generation. And there's lots of videos out there centered around watch channels. And you know, why do I need a watch? You know, I've got, the time is on my games console, the time is on my PC, the time is on my smartphone, the time is on my smartwatch, or whatever. The time is on my cooker, like Simon Crane likes to say. So the real thing here is the acceptance that in the real world, you actually don't need a watch. We wear a watch, admire watches by choice. It is the thing that flicks our switch, or as I like to say, tickles our fancy. But your children, and potentially even your children's children, may well have absolutely no interest whatsoever in a watch. And although they may well treasure a belonging that was the property of your parent, may well, and I only say may, end up in a drawer being ignored. Or in CG's case, the worry that she has is that somebody will take something, a watch that was treasured by her, into a pawnbroker and be exchanged for money for a holiday, or liposuction, or a boob implant, or whatever it is. And unfortunately, the acceptance has to be that that may happen. My GMT Master is not a watch to me, as we're well aware. It's something much more than that. It is a tangible thing. It's a connection. But that isn't guaranteed. It just isn't guaranteed that they may think, yeah, lovely, it's a watch, it would belong to my mum, and that's great, and it's smashing. I don't wear watches, I'll never wear watches, so I'll put it away somewhere safe, and it may never see the light of day. So, acceptance. And that in itself is quite sad, because I do believe, as we all believe, that these magnificent little machines that we wear on our wrists every single day deserve to prosper. They deserve to carry on. They deserve a lineage of their own. As far as I'm concerned, I got my first wristwatch, I think it was, because the reason I'm concerned is, I've got my granddad's watch, and I do have a watch called a Malvin Medium, which was a souvenir watch which was built to commemorate a ship launch at one point. And I remember my dad giving me that, and I think I must have been about 6, I think. And when my son got to about the same age, I gave it to him, and he still has that, although he is from the technological era. So he doesn't really wear a watch apart from special occasions. So I've already started the passing down, as it were. My granddad gave his watch to my dad, and my dad gave my granddad's watch to me. So that watch has already travelled. I think it's quite interesting, this one that CG's come up with, because it is something that we all worry about, I assume, unless we live in the moment, unless we buy the watches we think nothing about them, other than buying them and wearing them in good health. Maybe that's where we are. Maybe we live in that moment, perhaps. But where do they go? So the third thing is preparedness. Now, what I mean by preparedness, of course, is ensure that you are prepared for whatever you own, whether it be watches, money, property, whatever. You are prepared that it goes where you want it to end up. Excuse me, very congested today. Asthma this time of year is not a good thing to have. Where I am in this is I am going to do 2 things, and I apologise if this is going to get morose now, but bear with me, because I'm sure you'll think this is a good idea. I am, 1, going to buy and set up my own funeral. Why? Not because I'm going to get some form of kinky kick out of it, but over the years I have had to organise a few funerals. And it isn't a nice thing to do, because it's very, very emotionally charged. And of course, to put a very real face on it, it costs money. So, and I don't think it's fair for those who are left behind to have to pay for a funeral. So, I'm going to do that so that my beloved, my partner, if she's still around when I disappear elsewhere, she doesn't have to arrange it or pay for it. My children don't have to arrange it and pay for it, because it's already done, dealt with, sealed, sorted. The paperwork is where I'll tell them it will be. Job done. Good idea? Secondly, I am going to do a living will. There's a charity in Britain which I got in contact with the other day, and I'm sure something will be like this stateside or Australia or Canada or wherever you're watching this, and they are a cancer charity. Now, what they do, they offer a service which is very heavily discounted to write a will. The cost of that will acts as a donation to the cancer charity to help them carry on their vital work in sorting out cancer. So, you are helping a charity, plus you are arranging something which we all should have, plus within the will, in our case, the watches that we love and we treasure will go to exactly where we want them to go. Now, it may be, if you've got filler in your collection, which I have, you may want them maybe to go to a charity shop or something like that, where they can sell them on to make more money for your chosen charity. You will have, of course, your treasured pieces, your cornerstone pieces, which could be worth thousands of pounds or dollars or euros or whatever. Of course, you will want them to go to treasured members of your family. If you are prepared by having a living will, those will end up exactly where you want them to go. And also, in a living will, you can put in there a request that whoever receives those watches, they should be asked to keep them and never sell them on or anything like that, unless life gets very, very hard for them. They don't sell them on for something trivial. And if possible, that they themselves pass them on to their children. So that's where kind of I am. It is mindfulness, being aware that things can change very quickly. The acceptance that the things we love and we treasure, the great little machines that we wear on our wrist, may well not be of any interest whatsoever to the young generation that we want to pass them on to, other than the fact that they were owned by their parents. They may not see the light of day. And 3, mindfulness. Be mindful that you can put into place the things that need to be put into place so that your treasured possessions, our watches, can go where you want them to go. So, as an addendum to this, is there a right age for a watch to be passed on? Well, I got my first watch when I was 6. I treasured it because it was my dad's. My son has now got it. He treasures it, which is great. What I would say, perhaps, is maybe wait a little bit longer. Maybe I was an exception to the rule at 6, because at 6-year-old kids, certainly boys, are a little bit rambunctious, shall we say, doing anything and everything that their heart desires during the course of every day. So maybe leave it until they go to senior school, at the age of 11, something like that. A watch might be handy, because within school, teachers, quite rightly, might not want mobile phones to be turned on where they can check the time. So if they have a wristwatch, they can check the time during lessons. So there you go, about 11 years old maybe. Anyway, that's it for this one. So this is kind of my view as a reply to CG. Let me know what you think, especially CG. Let me know what you think on this one. That's it for this one. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Any questions, queries, suggestions for this kind of nonsense, of course, down below as always. Not checked any comments this morning yet. Do apologise. I don't know as yet whether I have any new subscribers. Do apologise, but I will be in touch. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.